Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am tonight's entertainment, and I will be showing you all how to trade small cap breaking news the correct way, the safe way, the way that does not involve FOMO and trying to chase a high entry just for you to buy the top of the stock and for it to come falling back down on you. I have developed a strat for some time now, and it has been treating me very well. The accuracy is pretty damn high, but the caveat is that you have to wait for the right stock, you have to wait for the right conditions, and the right setup. So the setup is basically buying small cap breaking news. You need to wait for breaking news on a stock that has become the most obvious one. So you can't have a stock that is already hitting the highs, hitting new highs as this breaking news comes out. There has to be nothing really going on. And then all of a sudden, your high day momentum scanner has to be spammed by this one stock. It has to become the most obvious stock, and it's pretty easy to tell because you'll have at least three strong green candles on the 10-second chart. So that's what we're going to be trading the setup on. It's going to be on the 10-second chart. You need at least three strong green candles, and you need it to be the most obvious stock. Okay, so the setup is that you are buying the first dip to the lower VWAP band on TradingView, which I will show you guys in a second. So you're buying the first dip to the lower VWAP band on this small cap breaking news. So as you'll see in a bunch of my examples that I have prepared over here, I have my buy limit order set for 5 to 25 cents above the lower VWAP band price, which is the green line that you see in my chart on these videos. In order to actually get filled, I'd like to keep my order a little bit above depending on the price of the stock. So for example, on a stock that the lower VWAP band would be around $6, let's say I keep it maybe 10 cents higher. So you'll see in the video how high I keep it depending on each stock and the price of it. So let me just show you guys the actual, let's see, let's just go to Tesla or something. So here is the indicator. So you're turning on VWAP. So of course you just click the indicator, type VWAP, and you're adding the volume weighted average price. And then when you go to the settings of said volume weighted average price, you're going to keep your bands multiplier on 1, keep the bands calculation mode on standard deviation, and you're going to go to style and make sure that upper VWAP band 1 is on and lower band number 1 is on. So upper you're not using in this setup, but I like to keep it on anyway. It's the lower band number 1 that we're going to be focusing on. So like I said in my videos, it's going to be the green line that we're trying to take the first dip off of. So now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to play a bunch of clips back to back to show you guys the examples from just last month. This is only just from last month. Obviously there's way more, and I hope you guys can benefit from this setup. So yeah, I'm just going to play the clips. You're going to hear my high of day momentum scanner be like triggered by the stocks that I'm looking at. So in the background of these videos. So go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and play them all for you, and I can talk about each clip after each one happens. So let's start with this one. Okay, so you see how I was just patient? Like, I could have easily tried to get in here. I could have tried to get in at this breakout, just caught the top. I could have tried to get in this pullback and didn't really get much, but the key is to be patient because it will always, I think my accuracy on this is like 80% on this setup. So 80% of the time it's going to bounce off of here. And of course my accuracy is lower because I am still human. I still do this out of FOMO sometimes when it's not the most obvious one and it doesn't have at least 3 strong candles. So that's why my accuracy is not 100%. But um, basically, you saw how being patient really worked out. The low of that candle was 6.55. My buy order was for like right around that. So the lower VWAP band price here you can see is 6.48, and it dropped down to 6.55 basically. So here I kept it around between like just under 10 cents above the price, and I got filled. And yeah, it was a great trade. So I like to take most of my profit after the first pop, which is 75% of my position. So I like to take 75% of my position after the first pop, and then I try to leave the last 25% to ride until view up, which is over here at 723. Um, Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just take 100% of my profit. So it's up to you guys how you guys want to exit, but I like to take most of my profit after the first pop. So that was the first example. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, that was another great example. So at least 3 strong green candles. It was hitting my Hive Day scanner when it was up in here. It was the most obvious stock, so of course it just bounces straight off of that lower view up band area. Let's move on to the next example. So this one is crazy. You can hear this one actively hitting my Hive Day momentum scanner, and then I switch over to it, and it happens pretty fast. So I'll go ahead and play the clip for you. Okay, and there you have it. That was a 98 US dollar trade on how many shares? 1,680 shares. So this one wasn't the greatest range. As you can see, it didn't go up that much, but of course we had 3 strong green candles, and it was the most obvious stock. You heard it spamming my Hive Day scanner, so I knew everyone would be looking at it. It had breaking news. This was right at the top of the hour of 8 a.m. So it had very clear support at that lower view up band area, and I took most of my profit near as close to view up as I could. So that was a great example. Now let's go on to this one. This is the higher priced one, so you'll see my buy limit order around 25 cents higher than the actual lower VWAP band price. So go ahead and pay attention to this right here, which is my limit, and this green price right here. Okay, so that was a 244 US dollar trade on only 410 shares. So you can imagine what this can scale up to when you start using even more shares. But again, this is at the top of the hour, right at 7:02 a.m. This had breaking news. At least three strong green candles, 1, 2, 3 on the 10-second chart. It was the most obvious stock. It had made a very strong move from around $9 up to 14. So I knew it was the stock that everyone would be looking at, and it had a very clear, nice bounce right at the lower VWAP band. So at the time that I bought, it was at 11.5, and my limit order was 11.74. So it was high. I did get filled even higher than it did go down. So I could have lowered it, but I wanted to make sure that I got filled because of the huge range that it had. I wanted to make sure I was a part of this move. So um, that was a great example. Let's move on to the last example that I have just for this video. But I do have more earlier on in the month. I just did not tag them, so I don't know where exactly they happened in my videos. But yep, this is the last example that I have for you guys today. Okay, just like that, 240 US dollar trade. You can see here that the price was at 3.04 for the lower VWAP band, but I had my limit order for 3.05. So the reason I didn't have it quite a bit more above that is because the lower VWAP band price was already at a psychological level of support, so I didn't want to put it above that too much. I had a feeling that 3.04 would hold just fine. And I didn't need to put it too much higher than that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just make sure you guys don't have FOMO and you only do this on the correct types of stocks where it has breaking news and it's the first dip to the lower VWAP band after it became the most obvious stock. So for example, on here, I could have easily tried to buy right here, but it wouldn't be part of my setup. I don't care that it made this huge move. I really don't. This is when it became the most obvious stock because it proved itself, right? So here it just popped and dropped right back down, and there was only these two candles, and it wasn't on any volume, and it wasn't like it just popped right back down. So these were where the strong green candles came in and where it became the most obvious stock. So that's when I started looking at it. And of course, I had my eyes on the lower VWAP band and I got a nice $240 US dollar trade on it right there. So that's going to do it for me today. I hope you guys all benefit from this. I will be trying to post tutorial videos on my setups and other things every weekend. So I also post my live trading sessions every day. So I hope you guys hit the subscribe button if you're new, and thank you all for watching.